In this example, we're going to move from an Algebra 1 level to an Algebra 2 level. What we've done before was a little bit of a review. But take a look at this and remember what our steps are going to be. We're going to move all the terms to one side, and then we're going to factor. So let's look at this again, and you see we don't have a zero here. This looks factored, right? But we don't have a zero here, and that's the first thing we need. So we're going to subtract the 3x from both sides, and that's going to look like this: x plus 3 times x minus 4. Subtract 3x is equal to 0. And I have this. So the next step is to factor, and this doesn't look like any rules that we've had before. We've got the parentheses and we've got the minus 3x. So this is not factored because of the minus sign here. So what I'm going to need to do is to eliminate the parentheses first so that then I can factor. So I'm going to FOIL this, and that's going to give me x squared minus 4x plus 3x minus 12. And then I've got this minus 3x is equal to 0. Now I need to combine like terms. So I have x squared, and then I have a minus 4x plus 3x, negative x, and then minus 3x again. So that's going to give me negative 4x's. Then we have minus 12, and then equal to 0. So now we have a trinomial. So we're going to, there's no GCF, so we're going to use the AC method and factor this. So my x squared doesn't have a coefficient, so we can do x and x. Two numbers that multiply to be negative 12 and add to be negative 4 would be 6 and 2. So I'm going to have a 6 and a 2. My 6 needs to be negative and my 2 positive, so that they add to be negative 4. So now that's equal to 0, and I'm ready to set each factor equal to 0. So I'm going to say that x minus 6 is 0 and x plus 2 is 0. So I get x is equal to positive 6 and x is equal to negative 2. My next example, E, is going to be worked along the same way. Again, we don't have a 0 here, so we're going to subtract it. And I'm going to have x times 6x plus 1 minus 12 is 0. I'm going to get rid of my parentheses because this is not factored. So I'm going to have 6x squared plus 6x minus 12 is equal to, oops, this should just be a x, right? So make this a big X. 6x squared plus x minus 12 is equal to 0. I need to factor. It has no GCF once I got rid of that 6. It has no GCF, but I have 3 terms. This is a plus right here. I have 3 terms. And so I'm going to use the AC method, but it's going to have to be the long AC method. So that's going to give me 6 times negative 12 gives me negative 72. It needs to add to be a 1, so I'm thinking 9 and 8, and it needs to be positive 1, so plus 9 minus 8. So let's do this in this little spot here. So 6x squared plus 9x minus 8x minus 12. Group. So then that's going to be that's a 9. So that's a 3x times 2x plus 3 minus 4 times 2x plus 3. So that's then going to finish up with 2x plus 3 times 3x minus 4 is equal to 0. So we will then take each of those factors and set them equal to 0. So I have 2x plus 3 is 0 and 3x minus 4 is 0. So that's 2x is negative 3 and x is negative 3/2. 3x is 4 and x is equal to 4/3 for my two answers there. In example F, we have some decimals. So this is going to apply with fractions as well. Whenever you have fractions or decimals, you want to eliminate your fractions or decimals, and you do that by multiplying by the LCD. And in this case, the LCD with the decimals, you see I want to move those decimals over two places, and in this case it's going to be 100. So I'm going to multiply through this by 100, and that will give me, for the first term, that's going to give me 2x squared, move it over two places, minus 15x minus two places, 8, is equal to 0. That's going to be the long AC method. So 2 times negative 8 is going to give me negative 16. And so that's going to be a 16 and a 1. And since this is negative, that makes this a negative and this a positive. So let's do that long AC. So 2x squared minus 16x plus x minus 8 is 0. Group, that's 2x times x minus 8 plus 1 times x minus 8 is equal to 0. And we have x minus 8 times 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. Set each factor equal to 0, and I get that x is 8 and 2x is 1, so x is, what's negative 1, right? Be careful. And so I get negative 1/2. You are not finished yet, because I want you now to go work the 5 practice problems on the back and work through these. Remember that when you're working with fractions, that you want to eliminate them and multiply by the LCD. And remember, when you get over here to 4, which is the hardest one, and 5, which is not as hard, but when you get to this number 4, remember the steps. Look back at your example on how to do that.